Does your first shift performance set the tone for the entire game for you? Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Cohn, a mental performance coach at Peak Performance Sports. Today I'm going to talk about not letting that first shift dictate how you feel or how confident you feel for the rest of the game. You're watching Sessions with Doc. This week, I'm previewing a new program that we're about to launch at Peak Performance Sports called the Mental Edge for Hockey Players. That's going to be an audio and workbook program that we'll have available here in the fall of 2022. One of the big challenges for hockey players and our clients that we work with here is that they allow that first shift to dictate how confident they're going to be the rest of the game. If they go out and make a couple of mistakes early in the game, they feel like that they're not performing well, or they deem or judge that that shift was not good, and then it's going to be a tough day for them, and thus they start to doubt and lose confidence. So we call that reactive confidence in our work. What that means is you're reacting to what's happening moment by moment, play by play, shift by shift, and allowing that to hurt your confidence. But that's not real confidence if you're reacting to what's going on moment by moment. Also, reactive confidence can happen in the warm-up or even before the game. If your legs feel heavy, or if you feel tired in the warm-up, or you feel like that your shot's not on in the warm-up. That's reactive confidence too, where you might deem that something's wrong with your game, and thus you start doubting your performance. That's a big challenge for all athletes and not just hockey players. But we see that quite a bit in hockey, where that first shift or two will dictate how confident you're going to play the rest of the game. Sometimes players will go, well, I have it today if it was a good first shift, or I don't have it today if it was a bad first shift. So what can you do to not allow that first shift or two to dictate your performance? First of all, you got to get off the confidence roller coaster, that fragile confidence, what I call that reactive confidence that you have when you're playing. You need to have more stable confidence. Well, how do you get stable confidence, Dr. Cohn? You get stable confidence from focusing on years and years of practice and play. How many years have you been playing the game? 5 years? 7 years? 10 years? Well, that's how long you've been working on your confidence, and you got to think of it that way. Is it fair to yourself that you allow a bad warm-up to affect 10 years of confidence, or a first shift, or one play, or two mistakes to allow your confidence to drop? No, that's not fair to yourself. Why define it as a good shift or a bad shift? You don't need to define it as a good shift or a bad shift. You don't need to judge that when you go to the bench. The challenge is you know what a good shift should look like, should feel like. Maybe that's 0 mistakes. Maybe that's a couple shots on goal. Whatever that may be, you know what that good shift is. You're judging based upon what you think you should be doing out there. So somewhat it goes back to your expectations about what's a good shift and what's a bad shift. Also, it's about all or none thinking. A lot of the perfectionist athletes we work with, it's either a good shift or a bad shift. There's no in between. But here's the thing. There's all sorts of levels of performance from 1 to 10 when you're performing. On most days, you're going to be at a 7 or an 8, not a 10. So the challenge is you judge or deem that that wasn't a good shift. So you have to stop judging what is a good shift, what is a bad shift, and then when you go to the bench, the only thing you want to think about is how to improve your tactics for the next shift. Talk to your teammates and focus on tactics. Don't judge or deem that it was a good shift or a bad shift. Next, I've talked about confidence. You have to rely on years and years of confidence that you have and not just one play, one mistake, or that one shift. So on your next shift, you have to focus on what you have, your abilities, your strengths, what you bring to the team. Maybe it's teamwork, maybe it's your passing, your shooting, your defending. Focus on what you have always instead of what your deficits are or what mistakes you're making. This is critical to have that stable level of confidence that you need to rebound on the second shift or rebound on that third shift. Treat every shift with equal importance, the first shift and your last shift of the period, your first shift of the game, your last shift of the game. Treat them with equal importance and don't look at it as, well, this is going to set the tone for my game based upon past experience. You've got to get beyond that generalization that you have about letting or allowing that first shift to set the tone. Hey, if you want more information on mental coaching, jump over to peaksports.com and click on coaching. In addition, this week I'm previewing a new audio and workbook program for hockey players called the Mental Edge for Hockey. It'll be out in fall of 2022. And if you have any questions about your mental game, we'd love to include it in the program. So please send us your questions that you have. Jump over to peaksports.com and click on Contact Us, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.